Welcome everybody, François Letard, JDR D30, and this will be a ramble about kids in role-playing games in the library event. Well, yeah, it's not the first video I'm doing about it. I've done one during the summer, and I don't remember, maybe I've talked a little about it, maybe on Vimeo when I was on Vimeo or stuff like that. So I may repeat myself a lot in those rambles. But yeah, it's a project that I like a lot, and I've been asked about it during RPG Day. And, I didn't have the occasion much to talk about it in the answers of RPG Day, since the answers weren't related to that. So yeah, I may ramble about it. I may have a couple of videos talking about it in the future. We'll see. I don't have any projects on all that, but I will talk about it because it's an interesting project and an interesting journey, okay, as a game master and as someone who is organizing that. So, to put you in context, if you don't know, I work in a public library, and one of my duty is to take. I'm in charge of the events and activities, that are going around the library. I'm in charge of the activities that are taking, who are during the work week. Okay, I'm working from 8:30 to 4 every day. So yeah, it has to be activities during that time slot. I'm not working in the evening or the weekend. I think it's important to say here, since it changed a lot. It may change a lot the perception and the how the activity itself would work. Okay. So I'm taking charge of many different events surrounding reading, of course. It may be an activity with comics and graphic novels. It can be young readers, albums. Lots of activity for kids. How to the library catalog works. I have an activity for that, how to make a good search throughout documentaries. Okay, for the kids, I have adult stuff too. I have adults activity, guided tours for immigrants. Okay, we have lots of people who come in town that are coming from other countries, and yeah, some of them don't speak French yet. They have to learn it, so yeah, they have to know about the service of a public library. So being a role player, loving it a lot, for me it was an occasion to try to implement role-playing games as one of the library service. But it wasn't an easy task. As for now, as of this video, it's been the third summer that I was able to give role-playing games as an activity. In one of my earlier videos, I've made the story of what happened with that project so far, and this summer it was a success. I think I had a formula that was working well with the limits that I have, and that was working well with the library mission. The library mission, it's a free service, and the mission is to get the most people within its wall to take part of their service. It's basically what the library wants. So, my argument with role-playing game was that I think it was enough of a good service to give to the population for many different reasons. Okay, reaching the goal of the library with role-playing games. How does it match? Well, yeah, it offers a new variety of a free service because it's free. Okay, first of all, it's a different activity, and also it has the teaching aspect. Role-playing games is something that you may learn, and I become some sort of a teacher as being the game master and the organizer. The players are learning how to do role-playing games. It has a tie with reading. I used to make a list of books to give to the young players for them to discover maybe fantasy literature and some stuff like that. But something that I have, that I have noticed since 3 years, most of those who have participated in my role-playing project are already heavy readers, so they have read far more stuff than what I was proposing. So it wasn't a problem. I didn't make a book list this year, but nevertheless, I think one of the goals would be to, through the role-playing activity, redirect the participants towards other library service. And at the same time, well, I'm coming back to the teaching part, but role-playing games, we all know it. We are role players. We know that it's a journey through yourself. Okay, you may learn lots of stuff through that. Confidence, problem solving, and lots of stuff like that. And I think it's a good thing that the library gives that. Library is an approved place by most of the population. It's a safe place, it's a quiet place, and I'm part of the staff. I'm not someone from outside of the wall. I'm a technician within the walls. So yeah, there's there's a feeling from the population of they are in good hands if they try an activity in the library, whatever the activity is. So it was some kind of an advantage. It was more easy to sell that we were doing role-playing games. Also, to meet the RPG, the library mission, I had to I had to give a game that was accessible. And for me, it was important that it was to be a free game. It was something that I've implemented this year. I think it was important for me that the kids could have access to the game they are playing if they want to recreate the experience at home, that they didn't have to buy anything to do it. So for me, it was very important. So I found a free role-playing game, a role-playing game that is meant to be free, okay? And I'm using that. And a D6 using game, they don't have to buy polyhedral dice. I want this game to be accessible to the most people, and if they don't have a dice at home, well, they go to the dollar store and they will find some. Okay, yeah, so even the kids with that have maybe parents who don't have money, okay, can even get into role-playing games and elevate themselves through the hobby. So yeah, it was important to me to have that, and it's still. So we're offering a free service and the tools to get this service at home and continue to enjoy it. This year it was, I think this summer I had a good formula. I was able to respond to the demand. I was able to serve 12 kids at the same time for every adventure. Every adventure were played twice. I have prepared a trilogy of adventures, and all of these adventures were played twice. You have the first group on the first week, and the second week I had the same adventure played with other players. So I had an average, if I'm taking an overall average of all three adventures, I was able to respond to eight players, okay, in total for every adventures, which is quite good. So I had kind of 4 places left. Yeah, the problem with that on the long term is that at some point I may be full. Because the problem with that, and I have talked about it in earlier videos, is that the kids who get into these activities get suddenly very hooked to it. I think this year, every one of the kids that were able to get into the game, I think they wanted to do all of them. And most of them were every time there. So the 8 kids were always the same 8 kids. It wasn't 8 different kids, for the 3 adventures. It was the same 8 kids participating to every one of those adventures, and they want more. which is good. But I still have to keep in mind that I have to serve the population in general. Yeah, that is for for the older kids and teenager part, because I have to talk to you about it. I had also Hero Kids this year, and that also was a huge success. It was when I was doing it, I did, I think, 5 or 6 different adventures, and these were in 2 different groups, but in the same morning part. I had 2 1-hour groups, okay, because every adventure were played within 1 hour. So for the Hero Kids part, I'm serving kids between 5 and 8, okay, and for the other part I was talking to you about, it's 8 and through 14-year-old, okay. But and Hero Kids, it was a huge success, not only from the parts of the kids, but especially the parents. The parents were kind of blasted by how awesome it was, for all the good reasons. The parents thought that it was a great activity, all the interaction. They have to express themselves. Yeah, the kids have to talk, they have to take part into the decisions. They have to let loose themselves. There's combat, and they have lots of imagination on how they want to terminate their enemies. But but the parents, I had big praises from the parents. It's a very unique activity, role-playing games, in fact, and you all know it. Yeah, so it was a huge success. For Hero Kids, I think I have the right formula. I have to take notes though, but I'm giving every kid that is coming will have a different character. So I'll have to prepare in advance all the pre-gens that were made by the author, because they are great characters. And the kids are coming back with the same character every time, okay? So I don't mess with creating a character or all of that. They have their character, and that this will be their character as long as they will want to participate. So in future event, if they're coming back, I will invite them to bring back their character, because I have created some kind of an experience system for Hero Kids. And it's the same with my older group. I've made lots of pre-gens, okay, and but made kind of choices with the names, and even found some images on the net to give them ideas of how the character may look like. They have a choice of what they can look like. I have maybe 2 male choice and 2 female choice for every pre-gens that I have made. So we get right into the adventure. But in the rule book, there's there's how to create a character if they want to. But since it's a library, we are short in time. Pre-gens and 3 adventures. The 3 adventures, I'm going back and forth, but that's a ramble. The 3 adventures for the older group, were some sort of a trilogy. There was some kind of sort of a sequel feeling to it, but at the same time, there was no obligation to be at all of the 3 adventures. They were all individual adventures, so they may come only at 1 adventure, and they will enjoy it as a full story, a full episode. But the kids were there. Most of them were there for the 3 adventures. So, so it was a success. For the game system, it's a game system. It's an ultra easy game system, a French one, of course. For the older ones, it's called Bob le Rolliste, Bob the Role Player, if I translate the name, which is a 1d6 plus modifier, and you have to beat 7. Okay, that's basically it. The problem that I have with that system is that it's ultra simple, and for the spells, it's not very clear with what you can do or not. So I had to work on the spell system. But at the same time, I have plans to make some work groups on other game systems that I may want to try. Other easy game system. I want to try Rêve, Reves, which is another free role-playing. And I may take a look at a superhero system that has some sort of an SRD, which is called the Super 6, a French superhero game using D6. Because I may have an idea for next year. Maybe I will leave fantasy and go with the superhero games. Because I had the feeling that the kids were loving it when they had some sort of power. So why not going with a superhero game? You know, where everyone is making the day with superpowers. Why not? What else can I say spontaneously? Yeah, it went all well. I had some problem players around the table throughout the 3 last years. And I've learned how to handle them through that because, you know, it's a public service, so you can end up with anyone, okay? And, you know, disturbing players will show up once in a while. Last year, I've kicked out 2 young players, you know, the 2 kids, you know, it was just too much. They just showed up at the session, and they were making goofs all the time. And at some point, you know, I've warned them once in a while, maybe 2. At the 3rd time, it was just too much. You know, I got to see their father was somewhere in the room, and I said to him, you know, I don't think it will work. I was not saying to him that they couldn't come back. I was just saying to him that if they want to come back, they will have to behave differently. And yeah, they never came back. I had some problem players during in the last summer. Hero kids. I had one of the kids. He was making a goo of himself, and I was telling his mother he has to, you know, just focus on the game. It's not that he can make jokes. Okay, you can make fun, but at the same time you have to, you have to help stay in the game. If you're doing jokes just to steal the light and have the focus on yourself and, you know, no game enough. Yeah. He didn't came back. I don't know if he will come back. He made 3 sessions, but you know, after the 3rd, maybe his mother, maybe she was a little disappointed by the behavior of his son, of her son. But I don't know. But you know, I hope he's come back. He may come back. No, I think he was enjoying himself at some point. We'll see. Okay. And for the older players, yeah, I had some problem players, and at some point, you know, I said to them, get out of the table. And they were argumenting, well, we were not doing nothing bad. No. They were very disturbing. They thought that they were hot. You know, these were kind of young teenagers, and yeah, we know how to do it. We are cool. But I tried to explain them how not cool it was. And and they were arguing that, you know, they were against me with that, and I said no. Okay, you don't really want to be there, and there's we want to be there, but okay, I'm telling you how it is to be there, because obviously I think you don't know about it. So I said to them, you leave the table or you behave correctly. You know, I had to confront them in front of the other players. It has to do that. It's a public service, and I had to do the policeman. So yeah, being the policeman was part of my job. You know, I fulfill a role of authority in that public service. So yeah, I had to put my foot on the ground and just kick out some players because I had to. You know, it is unpleasant, but at the same time, you know, these kids are not really my friend, okay? Not that it's unfriendly. On the contrary, this is a very friendly relation I have with them. But at the same time, these are not my buddies playing with them. And also, you know, there's a big difference in age. So yeah, you know, I'm just an authority figure here, providing an entertainment. I'm an entertainer. So it's different than kicking out your own friends. You're trying to try to keep the good manners around the table, and that was part of my job. So yeah, I had to learn to be firm. In fact, and I'm less and less tolerant. Well, I'm not, I propose a game, and most of the kids that are there can behave correctly. And if I can make the circulation around the table just by saying, wait a second, I am with that player, I'm making a scene with him, and sometimes just to control the overflow of participation, and showing them that if your character is in a different room, let's say they're in a dungeon and they're in the different room, they can participate in what the other players want to do. That's something that they have to learn, because sometimes they're so much into it that they have the feeling that they are everywhere at the same time. So that's something I have to teach them. But at the same time, they can understand that. I can teach them and they will learn. But those problem kids just want, they're spoiling they're spoiling the game, and yeah, they don't realize it. But I have to be the one to make them realize that they're making that for their own pleasure, but they don't have the pleasure of the others in mind. And that's very important in the role-playing game. It's essential. So yeah, that's a big learning that they have to do there. And yes, I know that when I kick out some kids, they probably have a bad idea of myself, of me after that. But I really don't care, because in the end, I prefer to kick out some kids than that they be a little angry at me, than having a whole group not enjoying themselves and maybe think that role playing is something that sucks, because because of those bad behaviors. If I show them that I do not tolerate that, because okay, you can have that kind of fun, just not around my table, okay, because we're here on a goal, and they can learn what sort of behavior is okay around the table. They will see that I have their fun I have the collective fun in mind, at heart, and I want to maintain that. So I had to set foot and all that. And since it's a public service and I'm an authority figure, it's easy to say to the kid, I've warned you 2 times. I think you should better leave the table. Yeah, I try to say that to them in a positive way, saying to them, it's not that it's not fun. The jokes you are making is not fun. It's not that watching your iPad is not fun. I'm saying to them, it's just not the place. You're not in the right place to do that. Okay, because you have to behave that way. Your behavior may be fun in another context, so I'm offering you to do whatever you want in another context. In brief, leave the table and do whatever goof you want at a place where it will be tolerated, because it's not here. I was not saying to them that they were bad people. I was just saying to them that what you do is not tolerated here. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I'm just rambling on stuff that has been discussed a lot on the internet. So yeah, I will end the video here, and I will probably get more into the anecdotes surrounding the games, maybe some highlights. Yeah, just to share that with you if you're willing to follow me in that. So François Latarde, D30, and up to next time, I hope you have as much fun in your life as in your games. Goodbye.